to Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills, to country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tough Talking Thursday on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jai, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Tough Talking Thursday, we're going to be looking at the following. ULAA endorses Vice President Koung for 2029. That's the big question. Trending in social media if the Union of Liberian Association and Advocacy Group in the U.S. have been doing this for the past 40 plus years. Now, have they endorsed a candidate in the 2029 pending elections? We're going to look at that. Also, Chief Justice Yuoh apologizes for what? Sometimes Sarah cut it. We're going to look deeper. Are we burdened by expensive leaders? Our leaders, can we still afford to pay our leader? I'm talking about our president, vice president, legislators, chief justice and associate justices. Are we being burdened by paying them so much money? Can we still afford to pay them? Also, there is a public health bill, and that public health bill talk about same-sex marriage, legalizing abortion, and others. The Catholic people say they are against it, not by sight. We don't want to see it. We're going to dig into that. To sort this all out, I have FOL political analyst Mr. J. Victor Nambe, also a teacher. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Dennis. It's good to be here. Hello to all.
Thank you. Let me welcome our neo-progressive commentator, Dr. Clarence Pearson. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be on the show tonight. I want to say hi to my fellow esteemed panelists and to our viewers and listeners out there. I look forward to an exciting discussion, Dennis.
Let me also welcome an analyst from our sister network, the LPR TV, Dr. Jones Otavius Malice Sr. We call him the PRO. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. And my greetings to the rest of the panelists.
Glad to have you. Let me welcome FOL legal analyst, Councillor Frederick A.B. Jewett. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm happy always to be here.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Our Muslim friends are having holy Ramadan. You see, our governor's consultant is not here tonight. He is spending some time with the Lord, fasting and praying for all of us. So we want to say, enjoy your fast month. Happy Ramadan to all our Muslim friends. We are with you. All right, let's start the ball going. I mean, social media was inundated today by the report on ULAA President Mohammed M.S. Keita openly endorsing Vice President Jeremiah Koung for the 2029 date. That excerpt was gotten from the speech that he delivered at the town hall meeting that VP Koung held. I was there and I listened to it. Let me show you a snippet of that speech that making people to believe that this was an endorsement of Vice President Koung. Listen.
That's all we want. We want the truth. On that note, I just want to take this time to tell the President of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Numapaka, thank you so much, Mr. President. You're doing it step by step, but continue to do it. Mr. Vice President, we just want to say thank you for being here today, and I believe that you will do the right thing. You're always doing it. I've been knowing you, saying you were a businessman, coming down to be senator of my country. You did something good. Bring it to the Liberian people. They need you. Now remember, 2029 is coming. If you're ready, we are ready. I thank you so much, Liberian. God bless you.
Remember, 2029 is coming, and when you are ready, we are ready. When I saw this, I placed a call to the president. I asked him what he meant. He said, he said, I will be on your show to explain exactly what I meant. But it was today. I said we are having a show today. We were supposed to get back, but due to some other unforeseen circumstance at short notice, so even though he promised, but I've not been able to get him. Hopefully, during the course of the show, he's going to be here. But Dr. Jones Octavius Malley, you heard the president of ULAA. We're all familiar with ULAA and the stance they have taken, for or against the government over the years. What is your interpretation of what the president said?
Well, I think the president was making some political proclamation, but my fear here is like he has already indicted his own organization, because ULAA has been under the microscope for some time now. And we have been saying from time to time that ULAA is a political organization that has been established to prepare politicians to take over government slots and engage government. And they continue to deny this. So from this proclamation I've seen tonight, there's a clear endorsement, and this also is an affirmation that ULAA is indeed an active political institution preparing politicians rather than seeking the welfare of those of us in the diaspora and advocating on our behalf.
And what's wrong with preparing politicians to go in the country and work and serve?
Well, there's nothing wrong with going to serve, but when you are representing a group of people, first of all, you should be clear with your objective. We are in the diaspora. Does ULAA have a statistics of all the Liberians in this country? Does ULAA have a database of professionals and experts, Liberians in this country? Has ULAA gone into the welfare of Liberians and actually know what is affecting them in the various states? I have not seen this. I stand to be corrected. I have not seen this, but I see ULAA to be more politically proactive than getting into looking at some of the welfare issues that are affecting Liberia in the diaspora. So if you come on the mandate that you are for the diaspora, we expect there's some high level expectation. Probably politics may be secondary, but there are some high expectation that I have not seen.
Thank you. One person who was in the hall with me is J. Victor Namwe. He's also a member of ULAA, and by full disclosure, his wife is the vice president. So, and he's also a political analyst right here on Focus on Liberia. Mr. Namwe, I want to get your take on what the president said, and you are free to talk as anybody you want.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Listen, I was in the hall just as you were. The president delivered a statement, right, containing more or less, you know, grievances over the performance of the government to which he is the vice president. We were also reminding the vice president that the government of Liberia had committed to allow us out of the country to vote in the 2029 upcoming elections. So we reminded him of the government's promise for out of country voting. And then we talked about Liberians who are facing deportation from the proclamation of Mr. Trump and his government, and that those people who may so befall such a fate, preparation should be made to receive and accommodate them. Then, of course, the president concluded with an observation of the rampant level of corruption that's occurring in this government. And so he was expressing that he had known the vice president for a very long time, and he had known him to be someone who kept his promise. Because before that meeting in the hall, we had met with the vice president in the inner room at a smaller meeting, and these very observations, some of them were put forth, and he did promise. In fact, in the hall, he also alluded to the fact that the government is trying to, he wasn't listening to or trying to listen from Liberians on ways they could improve the governance. So the president was basically telling him that we are certain that you will not fail on your promise made to us, that indeed you will convey our concerns, and that something will be done about that. If you remember, as you're ending that statement, he is telling you, I know you, I believe you will deliver. And so when he indicated that 2029 is coming, basically he was telling him, you know, if you fail to deliver, we're almost certain you'll be running and we'll be here. You will be coming back to us, many Liberians. And so I think this whole thing has been blown out of context. I think the president clearly did not endorse the vice president, who in fact had not indicated to anybody that he was running. There was no candidacy being advertised in the hall. How is it that the president would have endorsed the vice president when he did not announce candidacy?
When he said when you are ready for what? Fight
When
to
the
fight
when the
corruption?
government, when the UP government is ready, because we know they've already made
He
it
said
clear.
2029 is coming when you are ready. If you are
Yes,
ready,
you meaning the government, the UP government, when you are ready to run again, we will be here.
okay.
So your record should be propelling you into the mansion for a second term if you do well.
Right. So UP government, if you are ready, we are ready.
Yes,
We are ready to do what?
the Liberian people are ready to receive whatever they're
To
bringing.
vote for you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Pearson, you were not in the hall, but you were monitoring and you watched it on live. What you make of the president's statement? If you are ready, we are. 2029 is coming.
Thank you, Dennis. I think for the benefit of the listening audience and the viewers, it is important to discuss why, first of all, this is an issue coming from ULAA. Those of us who own and run a 541 C3 organization in the United States are aware that when you have that that title for your organization, you cannot participate, support any politicians or elected officials or interfere in politics in that kind of in that way of faction like we are accusing ULAA of doing. And I may be wrong, Mr. Nangwe can correct me. I think ULAA is a 501c, a C3 organization within the United States. So I can see where they trying to distance themselves from that statement will come in. However, when I listen to that recording, Dennis, I think what I should say, I think it was an endorsement, but I did not see it as an official endorsement of ULAA. I think what I heard from what I listened to, it sounded to me like this young man was acknowledging a friend that he had and have seen and grown up with, a countryman from Nima County. They all have interacted before, and he was commending him for his work in government, and that if 2029 came, he probably might look to supporting him if that came to it. So unless he comes on and clarify that it was not a personal commendation and endorsement to Jeremiah Koung, his countryman, like he said, he didn't say Youlaa's Youlaa's associate or Youlaa candidate. He says my fellow countryman from Nima County and my friend. And you know, if 2029 comes, we are here. We are for you. So I think it was personal in my view until he can clarify.
Thank you. So of the speech of the, I think he spoke for maybe around 10 minutes or so. Which part of the speech was he representing ULAA, and which part was he talking as, you know, his as an individual? Can you tell, Dr. Pearson?
So that is why it is important for him to come on the platform to clarify. I know from my own experience, when people claim on platforms and stuff like that, you can talk from script and you can also talk off script. I'm not making an excuse for him that he should have known better not to misrepresent his institution, especially like you're saying, it's difficult to decide at what point in time you stop being a representative of ULAA and when you become a personal, you're speaking on a personal note, unless you say that clearly and say, listen, on a personal note, my man, you're my countryman, and I see what you've done over the years, and I have confidence in you personally, and I'm not speaking for ULAA at this point. But he did not say that. He would be the best person to come and clarify at what point he was talking on a personal note, on an official note.
Thank you. Councillor Jewel, let me come to you. The ULAA we know is the Union of Liberian Associations in America. It's an umbrella group of Liberians and their various organizations in America. ULAA is a voluntary non-profit and non-governmental organization formed on July 4, 1974 in Philadelphia. We saw there has been this constant, back and forth that ULAA, they just they are auditioning for government jobs. During the last inauguration of my colleague and friend Youh, Kamara of ULAA, former presidential affairs minister Nathaniel Fallow McGill pledged the government was giving money, and that became a big problem. Now we see something that looks like an endorsement. How much problem is this for ULAA, or is just people just blowing this out of proportion? Councillor Jewel.
I think this is a problem not only for ULAA. This is a problem for VP Jeremiah Koung and his relationship with the Unity Party and President Joseph Boakai. I don't know whether he expected this or not. It appears to me this is not a discussion that was had with ULAA officials, the board or members who met with him in a closed-door meeting. I think the president of ULAA spoke to an issue while closing his speech, being overly zealous to see his friend and countryman ascending to the vice presidency. And by him, I think he misspoke. I think he came out to say that, if you are ready, 2029 is coming. If you are ready, we are ready. That is tactically endorsement for the vice president, which is problematic for ULAA, who is a 501c3 organization. And it would make sense for ULAA to quickly come out and clarify what the president meant. And perhaps he himself can come out and, state what he meant. If you follow what Dr. Pearson said, it appears that he was, again, trying to recognize his friend and what his friend, had been doing. But he was not standing there as a visitor. He was speaking as the president of ULAA. His speech could be taken as ULAA's speech. And so embarrassment to ULAA as well as embarrassment to Vice President Jeremiah Koung. I understand recently President Joseph Walker spoke and said,
Right.
anybody who is interested in 2029 political campaign need to step aside now and perhaps go ahead with your campaign or whatsoever preparation. And all of that, has created a problem. ULAA could solve the problem by not just having endless meeting. They quickly should come out and write and state that ULAA is not endorsing anyone. The president spoke the way he spoke, but it's not ULAA. And that though he spoke as president of ULAA, if you begin, you will see that he tried to praise his friend from what he saw and what he had been doing, and ended up messing the whole thing up by making it the way it looked. I think ULAA speaking quickly and fast enough would be very appropriate.
J. Victor, did the president make a mess?
No, I don't think the president did. I think the mess is being made by you guys who are taking the statement out of context. There is a totality of statement that we deliver, and you guys, you latch onto just the little snippet. There is a press release out. I'm sure you've seen it now. It is in your inbox. That release is trying to explain what the president intended. And like I indicated, the president made a statement to the vice president, and in conclusion, what is being put in now, came out. I don't think he made a mess. He spoke like he intended to, which was to admonish the vice president that indeed we're faced with numerous issues here and we need help, especially Liberians who are being deported. They are going back home. They should be accommodated and received and made comfortable at home. So those are the issues that concern us. Vice President Koung has not indicated he is running. How can we endorse someone who has not declared a candidacy? So I don't think he did.
Thank you. And the press release says ULAA refutes media reports. Okay. A news article published by Front Page, and the Daily Observer on Thursday, claiming that ULAA President Mohammed MSG1 Keita has endorsed Vice President Jeremiah Koung for the 2029 presidential election is malicious and small political propaganda. At no point did President Kamara endorse Vice President Koung. The union operates under a strict nonpartisan policy as outlined in our bylaws. This commitment to political neutrality ensures that ULAA does not endorse any political candidate, particularly when such candidates have not formally declared their intention to run. President Keita's remarks at the town hall meeting in Philadelphia was misconstrued. His statement, "Remember 2029 is coming. If you are ready, we are ready," should not be interpreted as an endorsement. Instead, it reflects ULAA's intention to engage the Liberian government to ensure that the interests and needs of Liberians in the diaspora are addressed leading up to the 2029 elections. The ULAA is dedicated to advocating for crucial issues such as out-of-country voting and establishing safety nets for Liberians returning home, essential for democratic process that includes all Liberians, regardless of location. Dr. Jones Malley, do you buy that?
I will not buy that.
Why not?
I don't know whether we'll classify that as a reckless statement. I don't know. But actually, we can read between the tea leaves. All right. This is a president. He's a vice president. This organization has been around for 51 years right now. So if we are saying that, in what capacity was he speaking? He's a vice president. He would have personalized this conversation, as Dr. Pearson said. He did not. The conversation started as president of ULAA. And everything embedded in that conversation is a reflection of the president's position. So we can't spin this thing around. You see, it's politics. He never misspoke. His words were well calculated.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Dr. Malley. This is what they say he's saying. Say instead, that statement, remember 2029 is coming. If you are ready, we are. They say that statement reflects ULAA's intention to engage with the Liberian government to ensure that the interests and needs of Liberians in the diaspora are addressed leading up to the 2029 elections.
Okay.
He said that what he's saying.
Okay, very good. If this is what the president intended to say, so the other utterance was by coincidence, the president is a wise man. He would have said this. Definitely, he would have provided a statement on our platform. Definitely. He's a wise political strongman. He would have said this thing.
Dr. Pearson, you say you're not understanding the president. This is exactly what the president's saying. Is this a spin or exactly? I mean, is this an excuse?
Dennis, when I was writing my bachelor's, I was told by my English instructor, and I think I mentioned that year before, that if someone has to interpret what you wrote, then you leave room for misinterpretation. So I think that's what the ULAA president did in this instance. However, I maintain that he spoke within a context, and people try to give it a form of interpretation. It is on him to bring us the clarity that we desire. And I think what I'm reading on the screen clarifies the first objective of ULAA, where it says community engagement, and they also talk about advocacy, the second objective, and ensuring Liberians a future. So if he's saying that they are telling the Liberian government and Koung, we're seeing the work that you're doing, and in the future, 2029, if you are there, we are here. I mean, I take his word for it. I'm not going to overstretch it and read into it unless the clarity was not provided. But now that the clarity is provided, I think it's within the context of the community engagement.
You say when you are ready, we are ready for what, in your view?
So in 2029, that when there's an election year, we usually have people making promises and trying to entice the voters to vote for them.
So why 2029? So why is it that if you are ready now to do the Liberian people work, we are with you?
But Dennis, you're asking good question. But if you want additional clarity, you can still call on the president of ULAA, and then you give you additional clarity.
I want your how you
what I see written here clearly, Dennis. But all of the things you're telling us that you're going to do in Liberia, all of the things that we see you guys are doing, and the commitment you've promised the Liberian people. By 2029, we have the conclusive scorecards for your performance, and at that time we'll still be here. So it will mean a lot, Dennis. But I do not see, like Nangwe said, this is not an election campaign period. He has not declared his candidacy for president. We are nowhere near elections. So we are just telling him that 2029, you're coming back to us again with your scorecard. And when you come back here, we'll be right here again to see how we evaluate you further. And I will take it until he can give me additional clarity for the 2029, as you're saying.
You know, this is an admonition. Then it's like Dr. Pearson. You know how people say there's an adage: on your way up, remember the people you're passing on your way up, because when you're coming down, they will be there. They are the same people you're going to meet. We're telling these people, you're in office now. This is your 5 years. Don't forget all of the promises you made, including the appeals we are making to you. You have the opportunity now. If you don't, 2029 is around the corner. We're going to be here. We're the same people who you came to in 2022, 21, or whatever. We're still going to be here. So I don't understand how this is, when Dr. Malley is talking about, whether we have the statistics of Liberian. What does that have to do with any of what we're talking about? It has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. How many people are here or not, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. What we're talking about right now is we met with the vice president and told him we have Liberians who have been threatened with deportation. We want you to make them comfortable when they come home. We want you to also intercede in their behalf to the U.S. government so that they will look into their cases on a one-to-one basis and not categorize everybody into one lump. We made that appeal. We also told them we are concerned with the situation at the Capitol building. We are concerned about the corruption in the government. The president, he acknowledged some of these things. And so how this has turned into us endorsing a candidate that has not even declared, it doesn't add up.
And Councilor Frederick, that's why it's making it round, because it doesn't add up. What do you think?
I think the press release causes more trouble for ULAA than anything else. ULAA is apparently trying to blame the Daily Observer and the Front Page Africa for the reckless statement made by the president ULAA. I mean, if you understand Liberian politics and you understand what how ambitious Jeremiah Koung is, it is clearly known that Jeremiah Koung has interest and eye on the presidency for 2029. Why didn't they say if you are ready in 2014, I mean 2026, we are ready. In 2025, we are ready. With 2027, we are ready. Why 2029? Because this is when Liberians will go to the poll to vote for who is who.
So you are saying if you are ready to run for president, we are ready to support you. Is that what you were thinking?
That's what that statement is all about. I say that it's unfortunate because ULAA board and official would not endorse that kind of statement. The difficulty ULAA is now having is how do you try to defend what the president said and don't throw him under the bus, as well as keep your organization from the disappointment, the disgrace that the statement carries. De La Zella did nothing. Front Page did nothing. Look at the video. It's about you from my country. I knew when you were a businessman. I knew you when you became senator. You did good things, clearly outside the context of what ULAA said to the public at the time. Only to end up by saying, when you are ready, we are ready. 2029. So 2029 is election year for Liberia. When Jeremiah Koung is ready, ULAA is ready to support Jeremiah Koung. This is clearly an honest statement of how ULAA officials behave, waiting to draw themselves as close as ever to the power that be, hoping that some of them can be appointed ministers and deputy ministers and so forth.
Yeah.
So Dennis, hold on there. Let me I gotta speak with that because
I will come to you, Victor.
Okay.
I will come to you. I just want to, because he made a point that this press release even caused more damage, right? It is also important to note that Vice President Koung's lack of acknowledgement regarding his supposed endorsement further emphasizes the ambiguity surrounding the interpretation of President Keita's comment.
Mm-hmm.
So President Koung, or Vice President Koung, who is now running, who has not declared an intention, if he had commented to say, I accept it, who is going to do that? So is it better to just say Mr. Keita misspoke? ULAA is not endorsing anybody. They're trying to fix it this way. Are we causing ourselves more problems here?
No, we're not. And let me first, before I come to that, let me speak to what Councilor Yuoh said. Look, if we're trying to ingratiate ourselves, are we going to ingratiate ourselves to the vice president who clearly does not have the power to give us job, as opposed to Joseph Boakai, who is the president? If we want to be in the government, we will not be endorsing Boakai. And no, hang on, Dennis. We will not be endorsing Koung, which in itself will be negating Boakai, who is the current president. That makes sense here, man. You understand?
But that's why they are saying he misspoke.
So,
What?
Yeah,
misspoke.
Yeah, look, let me tell you what you're hearing. It is like I said, if you touch this, I will break your finger, and then you get up and say, "Now I'm going to say you will break your finger." What about the part I said, "If you touch this"? There is a full statement. We're taking it as a piece of it. I'm not blaming the observer, but I believe if they really meant well in the front page, they would have taken the totality of what the man said into consideration. And Dr. Pearson, he was speaking in context. So, I get it. People will sell, and they will future what they want to future. But that's why we're here. That's why the release is out. That's why we met at 3. We're meeting again at 9. We're trying to do the best we can to explain this so that everybody understands what we intended. But we did not endorse.
But if you have to explain this much and have so much meeting, I mean, don't you think this was a self-inflicted wound? Because
I will give it to you. I will give it to you. I will give it to you. The statement could have probably been differently couched. I agree with that. But notwithstanding, if you consider it in context, there was nothing in that statement that endorsed anybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. It's Tough Talking Thursday, and we are talking tough. Let's go to Chief Justice Yuoh, who is turning 70 very soon, and our law says when you're 70, you can't be on the bench anymore. You need to retire. So she's turning over, and she say, saying all the good things. And part of her statement was she apologized for some of the decision they took. You know very well, decisions. Some people will be happy, some people will be sad, and like the decision in the quote unquote ultra virus ruling and all these things. Councillor Joel, let me start with you. Can we making this apology business because we saw the President Salif when her son allegedly stole money, say, "Oh, I'm sorry." She apologized, right? We also saw the famous 22 million in the mud. Public Works Minister Giddens went to Congress, went to the legislature and apologized. Councillor, can we apologize our way out of a criminal act?
It was interesting to hear Chief Justice Yuoh. Lawyers and judges do not apologize for how they represent their clients. Judges' opinions of the Supreme Court are law. There's nothing to apologize about. But the Chief Justice were clear when she came out and said, look, and mentioned the ultra-virus decision. That again showed lack of scholarliness and a problem that said that presents the judiciary as knowingly making wrong decisions and people being impacted by it. And now she's about to retire, I understand, in June. And so she's saying, forgive me, in essence. Forgive me for the decision that we wrote on the bench. Forgive me for who were impacted. Some way, somehow, the Supreme Court decision would be favorable to people who are the winners. And there will be people who disagree with the opinion, but that doesn't mean that the law is not what the Supreme Court has said. If anyone disagrees with the Supreme Court, the Bar Association can write an opinion and state, well, this is what the judgment of the Supreme Court is, but we think this is how the law should be interpreted. Even with that, the opinion of the Bar Association cannot supersede or override or trump the decision of the bench. Chief Justice Yuoh, to me, is on her way out and trying to make peace and befriend people who the Supreme Court decision, particularly the ultra-virus issue, which I thought was not dealt with in a scholarly manner. I thought the Supreme Court would have done well by ensuring, having adopted the position that the Supreme Court has the authority to decide constitutional issue, which is legally correct. I thought the Supreme Court would have gone further to state that this is a political question doctrine, clearly and specifically. So therefore, the Supreme Court, considering the separation of power and the co-equal branches of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative branch of government, the Supreme Court will refuse to run a decision in this matter because the matter is political in question. But instead of saying, I think Justice Besser came out during the opening of court in Nima and said, what we meant was that, the majority, you ain't got a speaker. So your action is ultra-virus. Or the minority, you have a speaker, but you don't have a quorum. So none of you won. And that created more of a political problem for the country, insecurity than anything else. I wonder what the Supreme Court judgment will be now in the Bill of Information. In fact, Chief Justice Yuoh last speech or charge to the country on her way out says that the Supreme Court would have a different decision. Anybody who want to read between that, you will read that the Supreme Court will now make a definitive decision. Why didn't it make the definitive decision before?
Yeah.
What was so terrible about saying that this is a political question, that the Supreme Court would not decide that? That's what lawyers would do. That's what judges should be doing.
Thank you. J. Victor, decisions that the court made, these things impact lives. These are life and death issues, right? Also, I gave you an example of Minister Giddens coming and say, I'm sorry. In the case of Justice Yuoh, I know two of you from Maryland, but can sorry cut it?
Well, I don't know if Sarah will cut it like you said. I think during her lifetime as a jurist, I don't know, a judicial person. I think she has taken several decisions that impact lives. But like that, Councilor Joe is saying, if you took a decision that is based in law, you shouldn't be sorry.
No.
Because the law is the law. You are affirming the law. And so I don't know, but there are a lot of us who were also baffled by this decision. And I hear Councilor Joe double speaking. He's a lawyer. He says they should have stayed out of it because this matter is non-judiciable or whatever the term. But yeah, he's expressing the hope that she's finally going to come out to make a firm decision. So what is it? Should she stay out of it, or should you make a firm decision? Something we thought she would have done on December 6th when they came out with this ambiguous and this very, very confusing decision. I think they had the right to affirm the law. Say what the law is. The law says in Article 49, you must do this. In Article 33, you must do that. They didn't do this, and therefore X, Y, and Z. First of all, KOFA has done nothing since this whole thing. So to say he's acting outside of the law, outside of the law, doing what? He has done nothing. All the man has said is he wants to be removed in the way prescribed by the law. That's all he said. So for the court to have said that both sides are acting outside of the Constitution, to me, that caused more confusion than it helped anything.
Dennis, can I just clarify something?
Yeah, I don't want us to go into the majority and minority block.
I'm not encouraging the Supreme Court to make a correct decision. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that with what the Chief Justice said, that she apologized for how the ultra-viral decision went. Apparently, they might be thinking about making what they consider the right decision. That means in that. I'm saying from her speech, you can read between the lines that apparently they might be thinking about making what the decision is or should have done.
Thank you. Dr. Pearson. The Chief Justice says she's sorry. Do you take it? Do you accept her apology?
I'm not a lawyer, even though Chief Justice passed through my family line in Liberia. But I would say this much, right?
What does that mean?
The law rubbed on my shoulder. It passed by my ear. I understand Councilor Jayware's position, and I quite agree with him that it doesn't make sense for a justice or a lawyer to regret or apologize for an opinion or ruling that a juror made or he himself or she made. So I would say this much, Dennis. I don't think, and I'm yet to get clarity from her if she wants to clarify. I don't think Chief Justice what her name said, Associate Justice Yuoh, did apologize for. I don't think she apologized for making for the Supreme Court bench making a wrong opinion. I don't think that what she did. I would think that she was reflecting on the fact that a lot of Liberians considered that the opinion was not clear. Former President Salif said it was ambiguous. So probably she might be apologizing for the sentiments across the country where we feel that the ruling would have been clearer, and instead it was ambiguous for the ordinary person to understand. But I still maintain, Dennis, that the Supreme Court opinion in the issue of the lower house, the House of Representatives, is as clear as day in the mind of the legal minded person. Everybody know in the legal forum know what ultra variance mean, and the guys said clearly that any action on both sides was ultra variance outside of the lines that were drawn. And we all know the lines that were drawn. It is like you said, we don't want to go back to it. So I would say in my layman,
ultra variance, what do you do?
But the Supreme Court was clear. The Supreme Court said go back to status quo ante. and do what you need to do to get your house in order. It was clear. You see that. Let us not go back there because it will just be a long
So why is Justice Yuoh apologizing then?
But I just made it clear, Dennis. I may beat on my child in your house for misbehaving, and I later on come back. My mother would do it to me. She would whip me senseless. Back in the day when I was small, and then she take me to the ice cream shop and buy me ice cream to mend the relationship. It didn't mean to say that what I did that she beat me about was wrong or her decision was wrong. She's only trying to mend fences because she feels she's a mother. So I think Chief Justice, Associate Justice Yuoh said what she said on the fact that people feel that the opinion was not fair enough. But it doesn't mean opinion was wrong. That's what. And there's not. Let me make this clear. They are not going to say anything different from what they said. A bit of information simply just clarify what the opinion was. If you want clarity on someone misinterpreting it, and that's it. It's not going to be different from what they already ruled.
Thank you, Dr. Mali. Is the Chief Justice repenting?
Well, in the first place, I don't know what the Chief Justice hope to achieve from this. I've been pondering over that. And just to make a point of correction, in her statement, she said the decision was faulty and biased. It's clearly written there. You see? So I think she had just caused irreversible damage to the entire bench. That's the first thing. Why I may want to appreciate her remorsefulness, equally so, I will want to agree with Councillor Jawed that she had no business even talking about this thing. She should have just left it as it is, because now she has thrown in a monkey wrench. People confusion out there now, and people are interpreting it, and it is only the Supreme Court will put this thing in context. That's the first thing. And secondly, I think this has a serious repercussion on her legal maturity, and will not cast doubt on her legal independence when it comes to opinion. So speaking for the bench now, she may be seen from many different lenses right now. Her legal credibility is at stake. And one may soon judge to conclusion that she might be one of those try to perpetuate double standard within the legal framework. And so this is a serious case. So I would have suggested that she be suspended for 1 month, fined $2,500 for her legal blunder, so that the next time she will not jeopardize the sovereignty and the independence of the judiciary.
Thank you, Victor. Jesus told a very beautiful story about, and Jesus considered this manager as wise. He was about to lose his job, so he went to the people that owe him. If you owe $100, he said, bring $10. If you owe $200, he just said $20. He did this so that when he leaves the job, he can be in good graces with these people. Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, said he was wise. Is it what the Chief Justice is trying to do here? That if I leave from here, these are the people I'm going to be with. So let me pacify them. Let me say sorry to them.
You know what, Dennis? That may not be out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, look, the former president certainly is still very much powerful in the national communities, and a Chief Justice who is in her 70s, retiring, could still do some consultancy in the international circle. We know the former president has come out to offer her opinion on the December 6th ruling of the Supreme Court, among other things. So yeah, it is possible that the Chief Justice, soon to be former, is trying to cushion her landing. I don't know, but yeah, I agree with those who say I don't think she should be apologizing. If you think you took the decision within the law, you shouldn't. But again, as reported by the paper which Dr. Mali is citing, she did say that decision. She apologized for people who may have perceived the decision as being biased. Do they have, a point there in thinking that the decision was biased? We don't know. Hopefully tomorrow, she will redeem herself. I don't know. Yeah, it all of what you're asking, I think is all going to be left to speculation. But as I pass the baton, let me speak to my friend Godwin Weado here, who sounds like my friend Arthur Weado, but yeah, he's making an assertion here that I made a statement on our sister station LPR last night that Melvin Early, the EPS guy, was killed on a block. He might be right here. I think he may have been killed in 2021. And so, I grant him that. I will go back on LPR and also clean it up. So now, Mr. Godwin, you can go and find yourself a bottle of water and sit down somewhere. I got you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Yuoh, you are a lawyer also. I mean, that's why people don't accept. I mean, you could be remorseful or just the Chief Justice just being humble and say, well, this is my life. I'm a human being. I'm not God. So in the process of executing my function as a judge, I might have, wronged some people or ruffled some fellows. I'm sorry. Isn't this what we are called to do? Isn't that humility?
This is not in the realm of the practice of law. What you do as a lawyer, perhaps, if you got a case that you think that your client may not have, in fact, what we do basically is we will write a legal memorandum for almost all of our clients to say, look, this is your legal position. If we went to court, this is what will happen. If we compromise this matter by having an order court settlement, this is what will be done. But we don't come back, you don't go to court represent a client. And you won the matter, and you stand up after some time and say, even though we won that case against a so-and-so client, we want to apologize for how the matter was handled, or the decision might have been confusing. This Chief Justice is notorious in making sure that she will write opinion from the bench that is not binding on the bench. If you take the WIA Councilor Justice Nangbe, Joseph Nangbe's situation, the Chief Justice by herself, she sat on the bench and wrote an opinion advising President WIA and saying, retire the late Justice Nangbe, Joseph Nangbe, because Janine Lewis, the late Janine Lewis, Chief Justice Janine Lewis, did the same thing. When she should not have spoken, I'm sure that the full bench is not satisfied with the statement she made, because the other justices may not have been in the position to say, we are sorry. Because what you do, you create a complete confusion where these people taking dictation from the presidency. What about Mrs. Selly speaking? What making law? Mrs. Selly is a politician. She can speak the way she wants to speak. President Bwaka is a politician. He can speak the way he wants. Anybody who wants to speak the way they want to speak, they can speak. But the Supreme Court opinion is law. Nothing to apologize about, nothing to regret about. What are you going to retire? Are you looking for a job with Mrs. Salif, what you call it, center? When you retire? Why do they want to retire and go work somewhere?
Councilor Joe, what happened to those laws, those things that became law, and now she's apologizing for? Will we go and amend them, or what do we do?
If you have lawyers who are very bent with looking at the matter from an advocacy process, they might look at the opinion that she wrote and file a reconsideration motion before the Supreme Court to record the opinion, because she already said that these opinions, some of them might have injured people. People will get injured. Who told you they will not get injured? This is not
inquiry.
The church.
Point of inquiry. Go, Dennis.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Councilor Joel, let me ask you this: as the Chief Justice, and I know you did indicate that the Justice, while she was associate, did write a number of opinions from the bench, but could she dissent in an opinion that is the majority opinion? Say, for instance, in this case, is she allowed? Is the Chief Justice allowed to do that? Where another person could deliver the decision and they can dissent?
Okay.
Yeah, that is a room available to all of the associate justices, including the Chief Justice. But she didn't do that. She wrote this opinion. She delivered this opinion. Only to come back to say it didn't, it might have been faulty at some point. or some of the decisions were made, if she had dissented, even though her dissenting opinion would not have been the law because there's a majority opinion, but it would have read soundly. In fact, some dissenting opinion had in the end become the law because there had been other arguments, other matters that were brought up, and the lawyers in those cases brought it up, and the Supreme Court would rule just how the Chief Justice might have written. But nobody says she shouldn't have written a dissenting opinion. She just saying, "I'm sorry. You know, I will pray to God that nothing happened to you." I mean, that's.
I mean, people could go to jail for life. Some could be executed, and you say you're sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it. But that takes us to our next topic here.
Dennis, you want to give me 30 seconds on my conclusion on that topic too?
Yeah, don't say two because I'm going in these things.
Just 30 seconds.
Go ahead. 30 seconds.
You know, it's important to state here while we pass over this to the next topic that when it comes to law, words and Councilor Jiwa can bear with me here that words are articulate and words are very carefully considered. Every single word within a brief is carefully considered as well as a legal statement. She didn't say in her statement that they made wrong decisions or rulings or opinions. She said she was apologizing for perceived. So which means people, she's saying like instance, former President Ellen Johnson perceived that the opinion of the Supreme Court was ambiguous. It doesn't make it ambiguous. I just want to make that clarity as we close on that point.
But
she said perceived.
Even the clothes you're wearing could be perceived that you don't have clothes. Do you waste your time apologizing for all that?
Do you want to do that?
Then I leave that to Chief Justice Yuoh to clarify further. I'm just saying the words are clear. She said perceived. She didn't say it was faulty decisions and opinions. She said they were perceived, and that word is important. You cannot exclude it from a statement.
She worried about perception. Well, the perceived or not perceived, people have died as a result. People are in lifetime jail as a result. People lost their lifetime saving as a result. So your salary doesn't cut it.
Look at the what you call the place, the Cali Junction property. You know how many people's houses were broken over there from the Supreme Court decision? Or if they call the Cali community, right between the Cali hospital there all the way towards the I think towards what do you call it, the Harvest Church, the church, Bishop is that Johnson? Bishop Johnson Church. All those houses were broken down by the Supreme Court opinion. So Chief Justice Yuoh is sorry that the people's houses were broken down or perceived.
Oh yeah, perceived.
What?
All right, that takes us. A friend, Setu Kawe, wrote a very beautiful article. But I like the way burdened by expensive leader. His article was entitled, Budget 2025, A Nation in Crisis, Burdened by Expensive Leaders. In that article, Mr. Kawe said, currently the government allocates an estimated 35.8% of its total revenue to support less than 1% of the population. Employ has published 7. This disproportionate spending evident in recurrent expenditure, which constitute 87.9% of the national budget. As a result, the nation invests significantly more resources in sustaining governmental operations than in enhancing the quality of life of the people. Dr. Pearson, are we burdened by our leaders to pay them, and can we afford to do so?
No, listen, Dennis, it's sad. It's sad. Thank you for the question. But, it is sad. We are living in a kleptocratic society right now. Kleptocratic because the guys have legalized all of the corruption or majority of it in the government. We have a dead budget. And normally when I'm speaking about it, I call it a dead budget, a budget that yields no dividends, a budget that does not invest directly into projects and developmental initiatives that will yield results through the ordinary people. Like for instance, maybe for example, for our listeners, if you took 22 million that is given to unaccounted for given to security they call it NSA, will add their separate budget sitting out here on the other side. And then they come back and tell us that they gave 15 million to agriculture, and the 15 million they gave to agriculture is spread across different institutions under the agriculture budget. It makes no sense. So we want to see them directly put the money into the projects that will make the difference in the Liberian people's life. So take, for instance, the money they spend money on what they call entertainment, generators, scratch car, and all of those things, vehicles, and President Bogga himself, who walk among the ordinary people and live right behind our house in Rehab Road, want to ride a bulletproof car that costs $1.2 million when nobody after his life, and we cannot put the same money into those communities and put people to work in the neighborhood that will do the kind of work that the guys who graduated from universities and technical institutions can get jobs to do to feed their family. It's sad. We got the technical schools in Liberia, they like the MVTC. Kids are graduating dentists in electrical skills, plumbing skills, masonry skills, and things like that. And the government has no project to say in this budget, we are putting 50 million for low housing development across the country in different counties. And these very kids who go into school can go and do the practical in the field. Straight from the classroom into the field, go build government houses for communities who will take over the houses from their zinc shack, from the thatch houses and the mud houses into a modern, even if that's 1 or 2 bedroom, but at least simple modern affordable homes that they can set a bitter boy and set a pepper and pay government back so the money can rotate. Didn't do nothing like that. I was just listening before I close on this, Dennis. I was just listening to a young man who was complaining that he doesn't even have his tuition in Buchanan there, or a graduation fee when Yumni Kanga Lawrence, Senator Yumni Kanga Lawrence, is making entertainment around $700,000 for entertainment. Just entertainment to go to celebrate one. Entertain who? And, you know, it's so sad, Dennis. We do have these expensive leaders. They are all millionaires now and thousandaires, as we can call them. And the common people are there suffering. These are all kleptocratic leaders. They have now seized our country resources. And now I even heard the CTM renegotiation. They said NTA got the audacity to tell us that the revenue that they're going to be taking from CTM, 40%, NPA will take 18% of that 40%. To do what with it? What makes it your private money? Does NTA has the right to take revenue for itself and say the remaining one will go to a consolidated account? Everything should have gone to a consolidated account. That's why I'm advocating for one source of income for all of our revenue to be handled by LRA. And none of these rogues should be hindering any of the public money. But that's the situation we find ourselves. Patriot Honda Generator will continue to get a $3,000 a month, and they will do it undercover. Yeah, business as usual. It's a sad thing, Dennis. It's very sad.
Dr. Male, to put this in context, the legislative branch, right? So their budget fluctuates between 44 million to 67 million. You see a senator, around 12,000, representative around 8 to 10,000. And sometimes we focus too much on the ministers too, and head of public corporation. All these people make just ungodly money, right? Can we afford to sustain our leaders? I mean, now their appetite for big money is so high. Can we afford to do this as a country?
Well, first, big one correction. Look at the characterization of the House of Representatives. They are supported by the Constitution. That's the first correction. Secondly, they have made their own rules to suit them. So the question now is, how can we as a mass of people take these people to tax? Because if they put money into these budgets, according to their rules, they're not stealing. It's by law that they're getting this money. So the question now is, why we as people will not rising up to challenge this issue? Because when people steal the money, it trickles down. In fact, nowadays, we are celebrating thieves in Liberia. That's the newest thing now. When you steal, we celebrate you, vote for you, and you get back to parliament. More besides, you notice that when a man rise up, I will not be in an office and I have my own rule. I'm an independent branch of government. What is happening, frankly speaking, is ridiculous. But we can't do anything about it. They have their own rules. But here is the issue. Most of the member of the House of Representatives, they are living beyond their means. And in any circumstances where you live beyond your means, you are bound to encroach on someone else's benefit. And this is what's happening in Liberia, you see. But the question now is, this has been going on for a very, very long time. This is not a strange phenomenon. This is not a strange story. It happened even under one of the most watchful eyes, Iron Lady, Madam Salif, whom we thought maybe we're going to challenge this type of thing and we try to see what we can make on the judgment. It did not happen. Now it roll over to another government, now it's in another government. But the question now that we should be asking ourselves, are the people patriotic to the Republic of Liberia? Do they see the homeless in Liberia? Do they see the wayward children lying by the street side? You see? But most of the issue I see here now can only be resolved constitutionally. Go and read the Constitution. You realize that the criteria to be a representative in Liberia or a senator, they are all feeble criteria. People coming to power for the first time, they have little experience in public service. No experience, nothing. The next thing is to ask their secretary, where is the money here? Where can I find miscellaneous? What do we get transport in this office? So this is the problem. We have to solve it in the Constitution.
Councillor J. What do we do now? Because, I mean, we've been talking about this money, how they're taking the money, and nothing is changing, right? So what do we do again?
So, you know, the budget that is passed, signed into law by the president, is law for that year, for that budget year. What is interesting is that the decisions that are made to get Liberia, to get the country Liberia where it is, is not just, we can't just fault one branch of government. The president draws up, the executive branch draws up the budget, sends it to the Senate. The budget passes from Senate to the House, also concords. The Senate passes the budget and the president signs it into law. And figure that it put in the budget year to year, it's just meant to benefit those who are in government, not the country. Take, for example, Mrs. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had in her budget, $200,000 per year for county development. That $200,000 per year for county development remain part of President George Weah's budget. It is also a part of the Joseph Boakai government budget. It tells you that the parties that are involved, the executive, the legislative, the judiciary, everyone trying to get what it can get. And at the end of the day, the country is not considered important, because if you take $47 or $50 million just to be able to get senators and representatives to work, take for how much money Joseph Boakai has available. Somebody referred to them as a colony of thieves. All they do is bring the money together on the table and steal it. They don't have any interest in road development. Weah is from Grand Crew, and there were a lot of Grand Crew people in Weah government. Can you go easily to Grand Crew passing through Sando? No. The same thing with Joseph Boakai. He was about 12 years or so as vice president with Mrs. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Recently, I mean, before Ellen left, she started to, carry some road to create Ashland, maybe Cruiserville, those small towns around Monrovia. And Liberia remain as a undeveloped or never developed country. To answer your question, what can be done is that the Liberian people may have to vote in a real government, people who basically have the interest of the country at heart, meaning the budget. It comes from the budget. When the budget is drawn up and it passed, you can tell whether the government that is in power will be in the interest of the people from the budget. How much money goes to the end of the country? Road development, they just quickly made $22 million to disappear. Joseph Boakai can't do anything about it because they all part of it. Mrs. Sirleaf could not do anything about it because she was part of it. George Weah was part of it, so he couldn't do anything about it. So it's a political question. It's a question of deciding who actually gets elected in Liberia in order to ensure that the country develops. Other than that, these guys for sitting on committees, they have money to pay themselves for being part of committee, not only entertainment.
Yeah.
When they sit on any committee, they pay themselves. So scratch card. You think electricity will come to Liberia? No, it will not, because if you're giving one minister or director $3,000 per month to run his generator, why would he be interested in making sure LEC get enough of what it needs to be able to have power in the country? The same with water. I will close on this. I was in Monrovia in my office. My office is directly on Broad Street, opposite Old Immigration. And I heard on the Liberian radio, Mo Ali was saying, water has reached Central Monrovia. So I sent one of my staff members to go on Front Street where the water and sewer people sitting down to the commercial office to see whether we could, register and get water in our office. They almost sent me by message, tell council, water not coming over there soon. And yet the director for water and sewer was saying water in Central Monrovia all over the place. So these guys are not serious. And it will only be changed when the Liberian people vote people to power who has the country at heart. Other than that, nothing else will happen.
J. Victor, I want you to conclude on this one, right? I mean, we're paying too much money. And these guys, we have to sustain them. Sometimes we set people above ourselves to worship. We bow down, we worship them. Now when they start to desire that we offer our bodies, our burnt offerings, then we start to complain.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis, I don't know what else I can add to what Dr. Pearson and Councilor Joe have indicated. I'm not sure if Dr. Mali has gone on this, but I think I agree. I think we can't afford our current government, functionaries, especially leaders. I think with Dr. Pearson, it almost 90% of the budget goes to salary, right? The president, the vice president, the speaker, the pro tem, and I think the deputy, among them $11 million. Yeah, why? But I think this salary scale that we're currently running, I think it came from the UP 1.0. So when this president came in, and he said, there's going to be no business as usual. We were hoping, these are some of the things that he was talking about because they had difficulties maintaining the payroll during their time, and so he comes in here. I believe he has veto powers over this budget. He can send it back and it can be fixed. The former president, we was able to harmonize, salaries. I think there's some remedy available to this president. He just has to grow the will to do so. But yeah, we can't afford to run the kind of payroll that we're running. The payroll envelope is over. I think, but the president told us about 70,000 employees on the government payroll, and he's still appointing people. 12 months in, he's still appointing people. Yeah. He's going in the other direction. He should be shrinking this government, but he's appointing boards, he's appointing town chiefs. So absolutely, these people are getting paid, most of them, for doing nothing. I mean, look at the House, look at the Senate. What are they doing there? What exactly are they doing that we pay them so much money for? I heard Senator Snow saying on another network that he believes they're not paying enough. That's the attitude. They're not paying enough. You know, they're not paying enough for what? To do what? So look, this is not, they say that, people, progressive people, they believe in protest and all of that. But our people really, we need to galvanize our people. We need to begin to challenge these people. Sit-ins, whatever it would take. But I think people need to raise their voices. This is
Thank you.
unsustainable. It's untenable.
It is. And so leaders just would let you know that just sustaining you and your family is too much for us. We can't afford it. So what we do, time will tell. And talking about people that are in government, Mr. Nabu, you talk about the president still appointing people. One of the people the president appointed, Mr. Anthony V. Kesseley, is apologizing. The ombudsman office say the man causing Baba cause so. Office can do that. So Mr. Kesseley himself, if you read his Facebook post, he has apologized. He said, today, March 13th, at the invitation of the office of the Ombudsman, I appear at the headquarters of that office on account of a complaint that had been filed by Mr. Boy Kokwe, alleging the violation of the Code of Conduct by way of the posting of language on Facebook considered inappropriate in view of the public office I currently hold. Mr. Kesseley continued, true to the candid and honest character I have always tried to be, I admitted to the exhibits that were attached to the complaint and presented even more evidence or even more gruesome language-filled posts that have been directed at me on the same platform. I did acknowledge that all of these languages were not suitable for civil exchange of views, but noted that mine were a reaction to intense and persistent propagations. I expressed regrets that I had to go to this length with my attackers. The office of the Ombudsman in this disposition found words used in my reaction as standing in violation of portion of the Code of Conduct relative to improper behavior. For this, the Ombudsman rule is suspended fine of $2,500 United States dollars against me. Further, I was asked to make a public statement stating my regret for this use of particularly unacceptable language. I declined to challenge the ruling even as I was accorded the right to do so. And Mr. Kesseley is a friend, former president of ULAA, former board, former also president. So I mean, he's a big man. Mr. Nabe, let me start with you because you know Mr. Kesseley more than everyone else on the platform.
So, to be honest, the kind of Anthony I have seen in this blackhead government is not the Anthony Cassidy that I know. I mean, the Anthony Cassidy that I have known from our days in Lansu, we both served together, and then, he was also at the university. I was on Cutnam, but we still interacted. He has really been a very civil guy. Cassidy, he's a very good debater. He knows how to frame his argument and really challenge you logically. But I have been shocked. I was really tempted to inbox him on some of the exchanges I've seen him, levy against people who just simply query his decision, in government. I mean, he's been causing mancos on Facebook. I read I read some of his writings. If I didn't know Cassidy and I didn't know some of the diction, I would say, you know what, he didn't write this. But it is true. And I read this, I was, as you were coming on, you and I, I was talking about, I'm not surprised that we did finding $5,000 or more. He needs, first of all, he's not a little boy anymore. He's been in this activism for a very long time. I know he's passionate about this government, and I understand that. But he has to understand and agree that people have their own opinions, and this government, honestly, is not performing to expectation. That is just a fact. He has to find a way to deal with it and live with it. But taking on people who are expressing different opinion than his perception of the government's performance, and just kind of cursing them out outright. I mean, I'm talking about people's parents. He goes, he will call my grandma and grandfather. So I'm glad Kezo has taken the decision, whether by choice or by the ombudsman, to stay as far away from Baba, cause not even on social media.
No, you didn't promise that, Dr. Mali. Is it I mean, this is expression, right? I don't know which part of the code of conduct, but did Mr. Kesseley commit any crime here? Or he was just expressing himself, freedom of expression?
Well, I want to believe that is part and parcel of the ongoing complete breakdown of moral decency in our government. You realize that the implementation of code of conduct is a strange phenomenon in our country. This is the first time. So you even see people going to work late at any time, leave at any time. So it's like that moral order has actually broken down. So Kesali, unleashing profanity in his text and giving to where he worked in the executive mansion, I think he should be suspended. You see?
Because not fired?
No. He can be suspended. In HR, there are procedure. You can warn, you can suspend, you can dismiss. But it's like, I think this is one of the good things President Bouakai ever did in Liberia so far, to lift the code of conduct to put people in line. You see? But the question now is, I see some of these things as business as usual. You see? Because Joseph Bouakai only have the spine to suspend people, and that's the end of the whole exercise in our country. You see? So there are a whole lot of things. I think he broke the law, and he should be warned or suspended, so that will serve as a deterrent to the rest of the government officials in that country.
Thank you.
I think he broke the law. Yes.
Councillor Jewa, should Mr. Kesseley be fired? Sorry. Go ahead, Councillor.
Unless President Bouakai can cross the way Anthony Kesseley was crossing, then he needs to keep him. In the absence of that, Anthony Kesseley has been around for a very long time in advocacy, politics and whatnot. Disagreeing with people to go into, insulting their grandmothers, their mothers, and other things, he need to be out of there. If I were President Bouakai, he'll be dismissed. He doesn't represent the government. It tells you that if the government was doing well, Anthony Kesseley would not be causing people all around. Because the government is not doing well. So Anthony Kesseley, he's a special assistant or deputy minister.
But he was in the Ellen government in VP Bouakai's office. I don't see him causing people like this. Is it that he's getting older?
At the time, he was just chief of staff. Now he's deputy minister for something. I think minister of state or something. So therefore, he now think that nobody should talk about the government. If you follow some of the progressive, you will find that they are so bad. They are engaging in a lot of corruption. Do you hear Kofi Wood talk about human rights now? Kofi Wood was part of the security advisor to President Bouakai. And Kofi Wood was part of the group that were able to advise President Bouakai to have the Guinean man who the junta in Guinea were looking for, the same back to Guinea. Is that human rights attitude? That most of what happened is because desperation has sunk in, seeing that a year and almost and a half is coming to a close. The Bouakai government is not doing what the people think, and nothing is changing. Therefore, he can only suspend people. And he may not suspend Kesseley because Kesseley is too close to where Bouakai sits on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
He doesn't belong there. He need to be out of there.
Dr. Pearson, Evan raised a very important issue here, where there were some guys at the city hall who, according to the CSA boss, said they cost President Wakai. Okay, so they were relieved of their post. Now, Mr. Kessley is not costing President Wakai, but he's costing other Liberians. Evans is asking, where's the CSA boss? Does the CIA boss have anything to do with this, like he did with the city hall issue?
Dennis, this is the exact emphasis that I was preparing to make when the topic came up. Like Nangwe said, Anthony had been around for a long time. He's a very elderly guy. He's an elderly man. He should be like my father, if I were to put it that way, and that would be respectfully putting it that way. He could be my father. And he and I have interchanged some communication once in a while, but I was very shocked as well to see him, gravitate to that level.
Did he cost you?
No, he wouldn't do that. He understands where I stand. Yeah, but let me put it this way. I'm thinking about Matthew Yamplu, a young man who advocated for Bugur's a scholarship program that was defrauding young Liberians of high-earned resources, and for scholarship that they would not have gotten to begin with. I'm thinking about, like you said, the MCC young men who, because they said Josiah Joker said he used social media and he said some demeaning things about the government. These young people were not even given a suspension letter. They were outrightly dismissed. And when we went to raise the issue about how that was a slippery slope, some people argue on this very platform and said there's a need for etiquette, there's a need for morality, there's a need for, and they were able to make all of the justification why it was a good thing, because I guess some of us are strongly connected to Josiah Joker and Jeremiah Pia. But it goes to say that, this is the kind of society we have. We have a spineless leader in President Boyka. When I say spineless, it's because he said there will be no business as usual, but there's all business as usual. Even IMF boss have to say it today. There's all business as usual all around us here. And I will close by saying this, I think the whole government now is a tribal government. And when you mentioned it before earlier this year, Dennis, I'm one of those who strongly oppose your conclusion that it will be a problem for us, because I feel it shouldn't have a bearing on the performance of individual. But again, from the Internal Affairs Minister, now the Ministry of Rural Government, whatever the case is, and we have a bunch of people who shouldn't be having a job because of what they've said in public, but because of their kinsmen to the president, they maintain their jobs. But when it comes to the ordinary young people, the poor people, the 99% who are languishing in poverty, 8th poorest country in the world, they lose their job at the snap of a finger. Will they go unpunished for the things they are doing right now? I don't know, but we'll keep advocating and see what it comes up to. Before I close, let me just say, Dr. Mali, when you mentioned people manipulating the laws in the legislature to defraud the Liberian poor of money, and you try to maybe make it look as though they cannot be brought to book. Kleptocracy is a crime. It's punishable by law, and they are just research it, Dr. Mali. There are numerous cases across the world where people manipulated the parliament and the presidency manipulated the laws of the country, and they were still brought to book for the kleptocratic behavior. So it's a crime, and it is punishable. Just our president does not have the spine. And as I said, Dennis, I will say before I drop this mark right now, President Boyka, I told you before, he's a pen. No matter how we drive him hard, he would never turn to a full runner. So I think it's just a sad thing we have in the situation we have right now in our country.
Dr. Mali, I see something on the tip of your tongue. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Mali.
Yeah. Dr. Pearson, you are 100% right. But here is the caveat. In Africa, the running of leadership starts with the president. One is not in the interest of the president. You can give it what kind of name you want to give it, all kind of adjective. It will not work. That one. Two, I just want to say here that His Excellency has aided and abetted moral dignity in our society. What do I say so? Example, Bushman Keita, one of the legal scholars attached to the Ministry of Presidential Affairs. There was the Roman all over in Liberia who took phone and asked a judge to revoke a case against Prophet Key. And the president kept mute. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Tough Talking Thursday. If you want to be part of the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791403#. And gentlemen, as the callers come in, I want us to, we didn't have time to go through the public health bill. But the Catholic Church, it says these are the Liberia Catholic Bishop. The Catholic Bishop Conference of Liberia has rejected government proposed public health bill, expressing strong concern over its provision, including the legalization of abortion, same-sex marriage, and euthanasia. Euthanasia means, somebody suffering, you relieve them of their suffering by, I don't want to say killing them. Yeah. So they say these things are, we didn't have time to kind of exhaust that, but just let's look at the two things, these two social issues that are always in front of us: same-sex marriage and abortion. Sometimes when it comes to these things, we say, well, our country is not ready yet to talk about these things. We are on other issues. And I want to give each of you 30 seconds to just talk briefly about this legalization, same-sex marriage and abortion. What's your take? Let me start with Dr. Pearson. 30 seconds. Before
Dennis, I think we just have in our country right now, I think this government just have a serious appetite for chaos. And I'm not sure where this appetite for chaos is coming from, because there's no way you can do any good development or any good governance in a situation of complete chaos. We know that our culture and our people in particular don't subscribe to these practices. To try to impose it upon them would be a big mistake. I mean, that's all I can say in the 30 seconds. It's just going to be another chaos.
Thank you. Dr. Mali, let's talk about abortion.
I think, abortion or same-sex marriage?
Let's start with abortion. There are two of them.
I think I read in the newspaper of late, there's the proliferation of abortion in Nimba County. I mean, Koung County. Yes.
And before you continue, the public health bill says that there are prohibited abortion and they are justified abortion. Some they say justified, but not all of them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the problem surrounding this public health bill, I went through it when you sent it to me today. I think it's part of the wolf of this dependency syndrome that is going on. Because the World Health Organization has an input in this thing. And to provide money, the government must agree to something that even they don't like. The issue of abortion has been a silent weapon in our country. So the question now is, why are we making it official at this time?
Thank you. Councillor Yuoh, your 30 seconds. We have more callers calling in.
I'll take both of them, same-sex and abortion.
Okay.
I think President Boakai was hoping that President Joseph Biden will have won. And so for same-sex marriage, then there will be money from the U.S. So that they were attempting with the coming to power of President Trump. That seems to be something bittersweet that they may not want.
I don't know if this current government is part of that bill, but go ahead.
No, I'm not saying the Trump government's part. I'm saying the
Buckeye government.
The Buckeye government with the senators. Flexibility occurred during the Buckeye regime. So the senators and representatives may be perhaps thinking that passing this law would be helpful for some financial support. But with USAID being closed, almost all of the money from USAID gone away with students complaining. I don't know how far what appetite they will have to be able to pass that. Abortion as it is not abortion since marriage, not part of our culture. Look at the Methodist Church, what is happening right now. There's the Global United Methodist Church, I guess. Global Methodist and the United Methodist Church. So people fighting over who own chair, tables, and other things because of the Bishop Queer, I think his name is, Samuel Queer, his name is, came here and agreed with Kula agreed. Well, Jerry Kula is not the bishop. Not Samuel, I think SQURE. Quiet, something like that. He's the bishop. Agreed with the.
Councilor Gawa, you're 30 minutes out. Let me go to Namwe because we have callers coming in.
Dennis, I look, I don't know if I have much to say on this. First of all, abortion is now regarded by most nations as a human right. So they lump it up with slavery, all of that. It's a rights issue now. So I haven't seen the bill that you're talking about, so I really don't have much to say about it. But I would dare say that the Liberian government is, I believe, trying to embrace an evolving matter, and so it's same-sex marriage. There are several factors that drive some of these people into same-sex marriage. I myself, when I was young back in Liberia, I couldn't imagine, that there is such a thing. But hey, listen, we're all evolving. I suspect far from me to,
I see your drift. Let me go to my callers.
Absolutely, go right ahead.
Yeah, let's go to our callers. They are. This line is hot. Let's start with our guy from Bezon. Trogon, hey, neighbor.
How you guys
I'm
doing?
good, Mr. Trogon Bayo. Go ahead.
Before I begin, man, I enjoy your suit that you wore that day with the VP King of PA. I really admire that suit.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And you're here. So live with LRTN. We're here today to see what's going to happen.
Go ahead.
Dennis, I called you today because something serious from I'm going to speak on the capacity of former board member of ULAA, who one charity stepped down just a few months ago. I'm going to take ULAA position here very, very loud and clear. We do not endorse presidential candidates. We do not endorse political parties or parties. We work with anyone who is elected president for the Republic of Liberia. That's
So they cater across the line. Is that what you think?
That is exactly what I have.
Okay. I could see that.
I am disappointed. Keita will even say something even close to what he said. Even if he did not, if you want to say, I didn't make any endorsement, he, as the president, was to think twice and be able to control whatever we have to say or when he's sticking in the midst of Liberia. This situation will create credibility problems to the organization we all have worked so hard for to bring it to the level as it is today. I will suggest, in fact, I'm not suggesting, I'm telling President Keita to write an op-ed in the Liberian Organs, whether Frontage Africa or the Observer, and also appear on some of the Liberian talk shows, including that of yours, Dennis, to clarify his position.
They wrote they wrote a press release, which I think complicated the whole issue. But go ahead, conclude. You have 30. You have to no.
You know the society we have in Liberia. Not many Liberians can read as compared to what we hear from other people. So let him appear or run an op-ed to clarify ULAA's position.
Thank you.
If he want to endorse a presidential candidate of his own, it is his decision, but not in the need of ULAA. That's my position. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our second caller is Momo Tule. Go ahead, Momo.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you to the panelists for their deliberation tonight. So my attention is drawn to the budget issue that you guys were discussing. I mean, this for once should be, a topic that should be discussed in a non-politicized way, right? Because we all, whether you are for the Bwaka administration or for the WIA administration, the issue of budget in that country has always been a problem. It's been a problem where our budget is tilted towards meaning recurring expenditure rather than capital, rather than staying focused on capital investment. No country thrives without capital, putting more money into capital investment. This is something that even as a supporter of this administration, I frown upon because, we came here to make things different. We support this government because we wanted to bring actual change, and I know we are on that trajectory, regardless of what some of the panelists are saying on this on the show, especially this was the other guy who is a deep supporter of George Manawia. It's like he's speaking as though all these things that are happening today, hasn't happened yet. I know we're not going to say, it happened before, so we should continue this time. Yeah, I condemn my administration for allowing a lot of money into the budget for, more money into the president's budget, the vice president, the president and stuff. So we as a country, what we need to do, that's a solution. This is something that we need to all kind of have a conversation around to find an amicable solution to this. What can we do? For me, I suggest that we can have a referendum. Whatever election, come 2029, that our citizens have a referendum. Let's vote. Let it be on the ballot about reducing salary of the president, the vice president. If it is left with the legislature or with those people who are in those positions, they will not suggest that. We as citizens should demand that it gets on the ballot and we vote to reduce the salaries of the public officials, SOEs, to the president's salary, vice president, or whatever. So these are something that we have to do this in a non-politicized way. So the Georgia man over there who's talking about they put more money this, Bwaka this, you should think about what we are did here on steroids. So I just want you to be reminded that what is going on today, it was done badly in the past administration. So I don't support it now. What was done bad yesterday should not give my administration any excuse to do it today. Thank you so much. I wish I was on the show to debunk a lot of stuff that I've listened to, but tomorrow night I probably will provide time to get on the show and to kind of demystify a lot of the myths that was put out by my good friend on the show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that Karen is talking about.
Exactly. That's him.
Okay. Let me go to Musa. Musa, you are live. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, Ganesh, and good evening to all the panelists. My contribution would be in three areas. First of all, is ULAA. When the president manned the podium, did he man the podium at that particular occasion as an individual or as president of ULAA?
President of ULAA.
That is the question we should be asking ourselves.
That question is answered already.
Any statement he made, it was a position of ULAA. So ULAA now, as an organization, is just trying to correct the damage. But the damage is already done. The damage is already done. And ULAA should try to take a definite position. Let them remain independent because ULAA have been corrupt ever since.
Oh,
When
no.
ULAA are here, people of ULAA sit on platform to discuss corruption, and they are from Liberia. If you check some of the government officials in that particular Baka government and in the past administration, we are all members of ULAA.
Myself, I'm a member of ULAA, I'm not
When
corrupt.
they see from Liberia, they come here. When they get broke, they join ULAA. Because from the civilized society, when we go back home, we should be able to help our country as a nation to develop.
Thank you.
We should set an example for them. Secondly, Dennis, the Chief Justice did not make a mistake. The Chief Justice made her position clear. The apology was not because they make a wrong decision. The apology was because the Chief Justice left the understanding of the Liberians, the common Liberians that did not go to school, the people that are selling data ball in the market, to understand what they meant when they said both parties were proceeding wrongly, was ultra-virus while they were proceeding. They should have said it and take a definite position. I disagree with Councilor that said that indeed the Chief Justice of the court shouldn't have attended. I'm saying no. I'm saying no. That's why we got 3 branches of government coordination. 3 branches of government coordination. The reason why the judiciary is there is to explain the law, the constitution. So the Supreme Court took Article 49 and Article 33, which have clearly explained. But they didn't make it vivid. So the Chief Justice came back and said, look, I'm sorry because I left doubt in the minds of the Liberians. So it means that let them come back and do the right thing if the right thing was not done that day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We have more callers here. Let's be brief. Let me hear from Mr. Flomo Livingston. Flomo.
Dennis, I will have to leave.
Yeah, no, fire coming for you, so don't go yet. Flomo, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Flomo.
Yeah, I said thanks to the show. Thanks for the show. No, I just got a few things I want to speak on, which is the Supreme Court or the whatever ruling is said. Mr. Ja, if the Supreme Court see that the 2 people were proceeding wrong, the majority and the minority, my question is why they went on Speaker Koung to defend their budget. They go on budget hearing. Why were they there? If they knew that both parties were proceeding wrong, they shouldn't have gone there and defend their budget. And the same people that benefited from the same budget that just passed on Speaker Koung. With Speaker Koung, Rachel Koung signature on the budget that just passed. And the some people are benefiting. So, I mean, they are confused because if you say it was not done right, why are you benefiting from it? Why are you taking a side?
That's their role to interpret. So they interpreted the person whose job it is to implement or enforce is doing it. You want them to say no?
Yeah, but they are the one who interpret the law. So they should say no. They should feel that they will not take it because they both parties are proceeding wrongly. They shouldn't have to take that benefit. And the last thing I'm going to speak on is, a thing about President. We try to harmonize people pay. We shouldn't even encourage that because that's complete evilness. Someone making $150, you put it down to $50, you call it improving someone's life. I mean, I don't expect Nago to say that. Say that.
What you make of Mr. Kessel's apology?
And what apology on what? I mean, he said he used some bad words.
Yeah, he went perfect key on other people.
I mean, that was completely wrong in his way. What he said, I didn't let you know it. I just getting it from the show. But if he said that, that's completely wrong. I said there should be some consequence. And I know that the ombudsman did take some action, which I commend. But I don't commend his behavior, but I commend the ombudsman for doing that.
Thank you.
We didn't see that during the previous administration, and the government is doing right. It's doing a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Kessel Double. Kazali, you are
Mr.
live.
Jai,
Yes, sir.
and good evening to the panelists. By the way, I was telling my contribution. I saw a text. My contribution will be coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to speak on at least maybe 3 of the topics for tonight. One would be like Keteli, Anthony Keteli. I hope Keteli will be suspended beyond what he received. The punishment given to him by the ombudsman is less. This man behaves as if to say he is not a government official. This man will attack anybody on Facebook just because you speak against something that you think the government is not doing right, including his own party supporter, the own government supporter. He will attack everybody. My very self, I have spoken to that man on several occasions. Besides his age, the position he's holding, he's right there in the office with the president. You can't be like that, attacking and insulting everybody on the platform. And then when somebody comes and insult you, the next thing they're going to say is that the man is an older man. But the older man is there attacking and insulting everybody. You can't do that. I hope the president himself will take some stand against Anthony Keteli. I hope he should be suspended just beyond what the ombudsman did to him. On the issue with this how they call it, things like marriage is not going to work in Liberia. The House of Representatives is bringing another bill making it a crime in Liberia. It's not going to work. Same as this abortion bill. I think the abortion bill, I'm one person who support it. Mr. Jai, I support it. Especially the portion where they have some abortions that have reason. But Jai, a father will not sit and let an uncle go and rape his child and then you keep the pregnancy. You will not have a criminal come from out there and rape your daughter, one drug addict or roll, and you expect the parent to want to keep that pregnancy. That's what kind of reason behind it. But we don't want to do that.
Thank you.
Good father will ever want to do that and want to do that. Thank you for the show. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Let me go to Evis, and then we got 2 more. Evis, you're live. Quickly.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jai, and hello to your panelists. The one thing I'll just talk on quickly, and sorry to you, Mr. Namwit, but the Catholic Church needs to shut their mouths. They need to shut up on the issue of gay marriage. They had a epidemic of rape in their church of young boys. Priest was raping young boys for centuries in that church, and they covered it up. And they had to pay billions in restitution, and they want to open their mouth to talk about gay marriage. And they have a lot of priests who are gay, who are pedophiles in their church. Come on, man. We don't want to hear that nonsense. Of course, abortion should be legal in Liberia. Abortion should be legal. One of the problems we have that we don't talk about is the abandonment of young children with their mothers. A lot of single mothers in Liberia. A lot of single mothers. Men, they get women pregnant, they leave their child, and they go about it. The women have to raise their child, set him better, get up. Sometimes you have to put a child to do market because the father has no support. Some of these women, their life was thrown off the path because they had a child by a man who professed their love. At the end of the day, he abandoned them. He abandoned the woman with a child. So women should be, making sound decisions, but if they get pregnant by the wrong person, they should have the option to abort that child because the hardship will probably be too much for them. So I agree with those 2 points there. The gay marriage, I think it should be a referendum. It's a more complicated topic. But the one thing I always advocate for is to respect people who have a different sexual orientation than us, and they should be protected. But on the issue of marriage, I think it's more complicated than just the House or the executive making that decision. I think the entire country should make it together. But thank you for taking my call. I just want to make those points.
Thank you. Let me go to the former TLA man, Mr. James Nalasa. Mr. Lassa, you're live.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Let me commend my friend Victor Nandi. I saw him on another platform tonight. I thought they did well to defend their organization, of which I am a former member. But look, Dennis, regarding the discussion tonight, I just want to point out that the court system in Liberia, we all know that according to reports by reputable international organizations, the court system is deeply corrupt, and indeed the judges are compromising themselves corrupt. For example, the former Chief Justice Francis Kopo left, he got benefits, and he got his pension benefit, and he went and got another government job with Mittal, where he's double dipping. Corruption. Poor people are there, they need jobs. The current Chief Justice is Chief Justice, and her daughter is a nurse somewhere else. And
at a health institution, and she's also on the payroll of the judiciary. So that's where we are now. I don't know. I'm really wishing for that bit of information thing to come out so that there can be a complete drama in Morovia. Let's see what kind of Chief Justice or Supreme Court will come in and think that they can make a ruling that can be imposed upon a separate branch of government that could be easily viewed as all wacky, that is wacky and all of things. It's interesting. But I do know that in all the Supreme Court's rulings in this matter, including even the gossip, the liquor talk they talk about, everything is consistent. That one group of the two is right. That is a group that has a majority, the simple majority, the quorum, the sergeant at arms, the chief clerk, and the chaplain. You understand? And then they say, well, we cannot handle this thing because if you our control, you can't go resolve it by yourself. Even in the gossip or the associate justice, he said that. We got to do that, but in the end, they have to just resolve it by themselves. Why it have been resolved? What role do they have to play? Well, they can play as much role as they feel, but nothing is going to change. And I wish that they can come and reverse their own decision so that we all can have the reason to laugh around here. Because I don't see anything that can reverse the reality at the Capitol building now, with the speaker being Koung. So that is it for that. But look, on the issue with Kessler maintenance, Kessler is my long-term friend. I don't see why I can call him my brother. We have fought sometimes, but we are many brothers. And what is happening in Liberia is that these days, Liberians, even diaspora Liberians, is no more Liberian-based Liberians, but diaspora who I would like to say are independent, working, and everything, but they tend to pattern themselves after the behavior model of those in Liberia. People these days do not defend what is right. They defend who they know. So, for example, you hear on your show tonight, Waka has not done anything. He has failed. But then it's James Lassa. I really do believe that JMB is not the best leader for the country, but I know he was the best to win we are, and he is doing his best to lead our country. So I'm supporting him all the way. And he has accomplished a lot. But when I go on Facebook, for example, and read an article, a post, I have people with two masters come, instead of attacking the points I have raised that this is what Baka has accomplished, they will leave it and start attacking me. People who are afraid because they don't have the substance, they attack it. So Tesla's job is to defend the government. That is he's being paid for that. He's not paid to remain quiet while the opposition dominates social media. Social media is a new media. There's no evidence that you're supposed to ignore what is being written on social media.
I think the issue they had was the language.
The consequences will not affect you. So Kessler going to write and he gets insulted, and then in return, he does the same thing. It's not good. But when you are reporting on it, when any of the panelists is making a comment on that, it should be fair and balanced enough to also balance it to say that Kessler didn't just insult. After all, he was insulted by those who have interest in the topic.
Thank you.
And he did wrong by insulting them. But to just act like he just double started insulting, to me that is not quite accurate or objective.
Thank you.
So, look, I want to throw a challenge tonight. I just want to outline, in fact, let me just show one example.
We are out of time, Mr. Lassa.
Okay. Well, thank you for the time. I appreciate
it. Thank you. Let me take the last caller here. Maybe that's why they say when you're in the bathroom and a crazy person running away with your laptop, you don't chase them. Let me bring in my Mr. Kalabo Gonglo, the Mark Genius.
Yes, Dennis, thank you. But just a quick reminder, just I spoke for 10 minutes. Just a quick reminder. I didn't intend to speak for 10 minutes.
You have 1 minute, Mr. Gonglo.
Yes, so I just want to make 2 quick points. The first point is, it is kind of interesting that Slomo Livingstone, who I consider a pathological liar, of good people without evidence, he comes on the show and then say, I condemn what Anthony Kessler did. I left what how they call it, the ombudsman, the action they took. But your action is equivalent to what Kessler does on social media. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. It's not a meeting. The meeting is business. There's something unsurprising happening in Liberia. We're going through the by-election in Nimba. in the next few weeks. The government of Liberia has decided to charge poor voters who have lost their voter's card since 2023 October or November since the runoff. $5 for replacement. And that's the first time, that's the first of a kind in the history of democratic elections in Liberia, where voters have been charged to pay to replace their voters' card. But the same government is allocating millions of dollars to different, politically connected government offices for pocketing it. Take the example of the LACC, the LCA, and the LAC Liz, the Liz guy, LACE, the Liz guy. He used $645,000 just to tour 6 countries to nowhere. There are no project to respect. It's zero. He put things that he slept in water when they were in villages. He said he paid money to press. The journalists are coming, particularly front page journalists who cover the tour are coming and say the guy never gave them money, but he has it in the budget. So this is criminality happening under this government. But I'm surprised by that because, it is the UP. The UP, everybody knows the history. I call them the smartest cat. They steal and hide and rub their lips. The other guys who are in power recently, they are the bamboo, they steal and when they eat the food, we see all what they hear, they buy, and people see it. But they are the same people, I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, we are badly out of time, so we don't even get through our Tabata session. At this time, we're going to go around your horn for your closing. Again, thank you so much for availing yourself tonight. Let me start with Councillor Yuoh.
Gentlemen, thank you for the show, and I want to thank the Liberian people for taking the time to listen to us. We are all Liberians. We need to ensure that this country moves forward. In doing so, we ensure that things that are not occurring the way we think they should occur, we should speak to them. Again, thank you for the time, and I need to run.
Thank you so much. Let me go to Dr. Mali.
Yes, I just want to thank the rest of the panelists. There is a law in the Panel Law 1976 that criminalizes same-sex marriage. And in our same law, we have 2 types of marriages: traditional, customary, and statutory. So I went through the health bill. I don't know whether the people constructed this law or it stay in place.
That's
but in any case,
Mm-hmm.
in any case, I think the same-sex marriage is a Western concept, and it's contrary to our traditional value system, and there will be a lot of pushback. And this is where I give credit to Madam Helen Johnson-Sirleaf, the former president. I think this is one thing she stood against. They were forcing her to have it incorporated, but she stood against it. And if for any reason the UP party legalized this thing, that would be the beginning and the end of the United Party in the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you. Dr. Wilson, your closing.
Apart from the other discussion, I just want to narrow down on the revelation that Mr. Gonglo brought up, that people are being charged to replace the voting card. I think that is a serious issue. And Mr. Gonglo, if you're still listening, I think this is something that we can take to the Supreme Court before the elections are held, so that the people can have the right to go and obtain the replace the voter cards free of charge, rather than having to pay for it. I think that is a huge infringement on their rights. I don't think anyone should be paying fees in order to go have the right to vote. So I think that's something we should take very seriously, especially any one of us who have the capacity to, especially the people of Nima. They are very smart people, clever people, educated people, very engaging in domestic politics. So I don't think they will allow that to even stand. And I think I condemn that strongly, Dennis. That would be my closing.
Thank you. Mr. Number, you got the last word.
Thank you very much, Dennis, and thank you all so much. It's great being here with you again. Thanks to our audience as well. They've been very gracious. I'm happy I was able to make the meeting to the end. Apparently, my meeting has not started yet; it's been delayed, but I'm glad I was here to the end of the show. Let me thank Mr. Lassa for appreciating, our attempt to bring clarity to this whole question of ULAA and the endorsement, the non-endorsement. The union did not.
Clarity?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. No, I didn't hear it. I wanted you to just
bring clarity to this misinformation. ULAA did not endorse. There was no candidate in the hall, so we did not endorse, and we stand by that decision, no matter the interpretation of what the president said. Please read our release. But great show. Thank you ever so much.
And thank you, gentlemen, for the time. I want to thank our viewers for watching. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Tomorrow, we're going to have the Friday night debate. You don't want to miss it. Also, on Saturday, Focus on Liberia will be live on Kia Radio 95.9 in Monrovia. You too. You don't want to miss that. Our guest will be the progressive D. Kankala. Oh, hey. That will be this Saturday at 10 Eastern. Until then, we close with a song that says we are all Liberians. Whether you agree that your comments were in place or out of place, we are all Liberians. Yeah, whether you believe Mr. Kesseley had the right to punch back when he's being punched below the belt, we are all Liberians. What is incumbent upon all of us is to do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Take care, gentlemen, and good night.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.